Hello one and all, my name's John Clare, this is...
Roman Fish.
And welcome to the Post Watch Post Mortem. We had a little bit of a technical issue, so we had a really good conversation and now we're just going to start again, which is fine. You know, these things happen.
They do.
They do. You know, especially when you rank amateurs like we are. But anyway, we're just coming back from watching John Wick Chapter 2.
Mm-hmm.
And the one thing look, as a sequel, without question, this is one of the really fucking good ones. And the reason why I say that is because, like, one thing I talk about quite a lot. I've talked about quite a lot, at least in previous episodes of this. I always bring up the subject of budget, and this is definitely one of those movies where the budget, every single red cent of it, has gone on screen. And, you know, whether it's the fact that, the fact that we had the fact that, you know, it's gone international, the fact that some of the, like, especially with the final fight scene, when John Wick eventually gets hold of the mafia boss that brings him back into it, off the back of the actions of the first film. It's, pardon me, we're drinking beer at the same time, so excuse me if I'm a little bit burpy. But yeah, I just think that, yeah, every red cent of it has been fantastic. Every red cent has been put up on screen and it looks fantastic. The fact that they went to Rome, the fact that, you know, some of the fight sequences have really been elevated. Some of the choreography's better, like even the opening sequence.
Yes. Talking about the opening sequence, one of the first shots that you have in the movie is the city of New York.
Yes.
That's where the most of the movie is taking place. Most of the three movies taking place, to be fair, New York City. And as we pan through the city, through the buildings, there was a projection of a movie in a building. And this movie was a movie of Burton Keaton. Burton Keaton?
What?
It's an old black and white actors from the old time. Burton Keaton.
But Buster Keaton.
Buster Keaton.
Buster Keaton.
Yeah, and it's one of the pioneer of stuntmen. Basically, if you want to see what's an actor stuntman, you look for him. Like.
Yes, that's actually a very good observation.
It did every stunt in this movie.
It
was somebody very like a physical actor, so he did most of his stunts, most of this thing, and you see that with as a respect maybe for as in the movie because Kenny Reeves is doing most of his stunt, most of it. Is doing driving choreography and thing all by himself.
Yeah,
I mean with the help of of all his stunt team. And so it's nice to see that homage. One of the first images you see in the movie, one of the couple of first images, is an homage to Buster Keaton.
Buster Keaton.
Buster Keaton.
Yeah, Buster.
Buster Keaton.
Yes.
Yeah. Which I watched one of this movie. It's a wild, like everything is like the same strategy of John Wick. There's always something crazy happening on screen, and that was silent black and white movie at the time.
Yeah,
it's just music and like line of text when people are talking. It's like go black and line, and
But no, I think that's actually a good spot. Actually, I mean, like in terms of like it's a homage to cinema in general.
Yeah, the action cinema
Yeah. So like it's a really good fucking movie, like without question. Like in terms look, Keanu Reeves, as we spoke about in the previous film, he's absolutely perfect as John Wick, and again in the sequel, very much the same thing. Like I mean, like he's very adept to what he does. Like when Keanu Reeves is in the perfect role for Keanu Reeves, he's incredible in that role.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. There's been other movies where he's not been so incredible, like Jonathan Harker in Dracula. His English accent sucked, which I find really strange. I think he's half English, but yeah, he's like but the fact that when he's right for a role, he's without question like one of the best movie stars, and the fact that he puts so much of himself into the role of John Wick,
or he gave himself like physically,
without doubt. I mean, Like, you know, he's involved in all the fight scenes. You can tell like this guy knows how to handle a weapon. He knows how to drive a car. He knows how to, you know, he's very kind of like physically involved in terms of the actual choreography. You don't. I'm sure there are without question there are stuntmen, but yeah, I think generally speaking, Keanu Reeves brilliant in the role. Love him. I mean, the first two movies I absolutely adore. Ian McShane as Winston. I mean, I know he got a little bit more to do. I mean, the thing is, like, I'm English, or I'm born in England, and I used to remember like Ian McShane from a TV series called Lovejoy. So I always think back to him in that role. But you know, him as Winston, like him as Odin in American Gods or whatever else. You know, he's a very charismatic actor.
He does play the same role all the time, kinda. Do you know?
Probably we'll probably see a little bit more of what he's involved with before we can make that.
But like,
citation.
like in American Gods, is very like powerful. Like, you know, like the way he's talking. You know, like he's always on top of you with respect. You know, like he speaks like a king.
Yeah, well, things like it's not even that he speaks like a king. Like in Lovejoy, he was a bit of a scoundrel, and I think Winston. You always get kind of a hint with Winston, like, look, there's a reason why that dude got to where he got to, and he had to be a bit of a fucking scoundrel in order to get there. So, like, you know, in terms of the cast, I love the cast. Lance Reddick, God bless him. You know, he was brilliant in his role.
As the new villain, they cast because it's most of the movie. The beginning of the movie is set in Italy. It's an Italian mafia. Plot kind of thing. The son was the brother. The father is dead, and
there's this whole kind of family dynamic. Yeah.
The siblings want to sit in the council. We'll talk about later. And the actor of Riccardo
Scamarcio. I'm not Italian. I'm really sorry for butchering the name.
We watched him months ago in a movie on Netflix called Ruthless, which I recommend. It's pretty good. It's basically the Italian version of the Goodfellas. Yeah. So you see, I think it's also based on a real story, which is it's strange that the movie is so similar to the Goodfellas.
Well, things
it's a story of a criminal from his childhood to his.
But you know things like, I mean, okay, a little bit of a tangent here, but. The reason for the way, like a lot of mafia stories, it's always about the rise and the fall.
Yeah.
The reason for that is because I think it was back in the 1930s, there was a lot of glamorization of mafia, and obviously this is during Prohibition. Al Capone and all these guys. So like during the Prohibition era, they wanted to show that.
Those guys are the bad guy. They're not the good guy.
No. They could show the rise, but it was mandated by the American government that it's all right, because they didn't want to glamorise the mafia or organised crime at all. So what they did was they actually mandated that if you're going to show the rise, you have to show the fall.
Yeah.
So, pardon me. Since the 1930s, that's why pretty much all gangster movies follow that kind of same trajectory.
That's what you see in Breaking Bad, for example.
Exactly.
In Breaking Bad, you see the rise and you see the fall of Walter White. Also, the villain in the story, you see the rise and the fall. So I understand that. But we digress with the movie Ruthless. Very good movie.
Definitely watch it.
Watch it.
Who knows? We should probably do it.
We should probably do
it.
So watch the movie and maybe we'll talk about it together
at some point.
Yeah, and very good actor.
Yeah, definitely. I thought in terms of the villain,
he has this look of do you like it's
he's a scumbag.
He has this yes. You know, like you don't want to trust him, but it looks so charming. It's untrustable, charming look. Like
I mean, like he's an absolute fucking wanker. Because the whole because at the end of the day, like he sets the whole kind of in this movie anyway. He flicks the first domino by trying because they do kind of like do a bit of necessary exposition.
Oh, because it was how long after this movie came up from the first John Wick?
3 years.
So basically this intro is basically a micro John Wick 1.
Oh, if you're talking about the pre-credits scene.
The pre-credit scene,
Yeah.
like this intro, like so. We start back from John Wick.
Yeah.
Trying to get his car back, because in the first movie he didn't get his car back. He got his revenge, but the car that was stolen.
It was basically an untied thread from the first
Yeah,
film.
an anti-threat from the first movie, and so he needs to get that car back. Yeah.
Which, funnily enough, this also doesn't tie the thread up in this movie with that particular car, because if you remember on that first scene, he smashes it up. He goes to get it fixed, but you never see that car again. So obviously that car is going to be like a running thread throughout the entire trilogy.
Hopefully, yeah. I don't think he appear in the third one.
But that's well
But like,
when we watch it, we'll find out.
It says that the car will be ready in Christmas, 2030.
Yeah.
So maybe Christmas 2030.
Who knows? Right? If in John Wick 12, they might have it ready. But we'll find out when we watch Parabellum next time out.
Yeah. So there's the so he's come back to get his car with this Russian like cousin from the other the first bad guy, and he basically does the Baba Yaga scene. He explains his henchman why he's so evil and stuff like that, and it kind of looked like a wish version of the Russian bad guy. Sorry, what's his name? What's his name again? What's his name?
Oh, the actor who did it. Let me find out.
It's not going to be in the beginning, but
I'll find it.
Top cast, but I think you should watch it. Yeah, it doesn't do a very well Russian accent.
No, he's Russian.
Is Russian?
No, because funny enough, he actually played Baba Yaga in American Gods.
Okay.
Yep.
But is he Russian?
I think so. Let me just find me 1 second. I know we're completely derailing the podcast here. 1 second.
Yes, okay, it's fine. I'll get him with the low resolution thing that we have. That was the henchman.
We can't find. Oh, don't worry about it. Fuck it.
But it's the first like Russian accent, Russian over the top, like when he speaks to this henchman, obviously American, because with his handbar mustache, it's like he speak to him first in Russian and stuff like that. Yeah, like that scene was pretty cool, like the car kung fu kind of thing.
Yeah,
it's really cool.
And the fact that his beloved Ford Mustang got absolutely destroyed.
He wrecked it.
He smashed it up. In fairness, there was a couple of scenes in it where like, what's it? He crashes it. He smashes it up. People crash into him. There's one particular thing where like, at one point he kind of takes the driver's side door off by like crashing into a motorcyclist.
Yes. And
then later on, another car like smashes into the back of his car, and he actually falls out the driver's. He falls out the car. He falls out of the car because there's no door there.
Oh yeah, because the car like ejected from the
the actual impact of it just like fucking flings him out
because the door was gone because of the motorcycle. Like
so like.
This choreography was great, like with the water and the light and everything, and they just don't cut that much. They let it wide. And you're like, let it go, let the fight go, and just let's see the hits, let's see the fall and everything. Because they're falling on concrete, like, I think.
Yeah.
They're falling on water. Maybe there's a bit padded
we
don't know the technique they use in movies, but like, it look real. The water, there's like drip. It's like, it's well lit. It's a nice scene. It's a nice, if you like cinema, maybe you're not into fighting movie, you have to accept that it's actually well shot. This movie is like this nice shot. It's well shot, well lit, and even the darker scene are like it's a bit strange that there's like spotlight, like a glorified spotlight in a tunnel that nobody went in 600 years to like secret tunnel. Like they're like why they leave the lights on if nobody know about that tunnel? But it's part of the movie.
Yeah,
it's because otherwise you'll be in the darkness and you.
This thing again, you can easily, and I've said this before, you can easily nitpick a movie.
Yes, you can.
And if you want to nitpick John Wick, if you want to turn around and start saying, "Oh yeah, this is unbelievable," and this is all nonsense, do you know what? You're absolutely fucking right. there is a degree of suspension of disbelief.
You need one.
And with movies like this, you definitely need to kind of allow yourself to kind of get drawn into the world. And I think John Wick does that, and John Wick Chapter 2 does that very effectively. Like, yes, I mean, like, for instance, the one film, there's one particular sequence that gets criticised quite a lot from what I've seen.
The metro scene.
The metro scene where, like, him and commoners, like...
It's a goofy scene. It's so
goofy. Like they're going up and going, pew, pew, pew.
They're working like this, it's just like...
Yeah, it's silly. Yeah, it's silly, because in real life, like, anyone, like, look, I've never fired a gun in my life, but from what I understand, like, even with a suppressor on, they're not silencers, they're suppressors. So, like, you don't get the kind of pew 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 business. It's like, it suppresses it, but it doesn't necessarily reduce it. It reduces the sound, but it doesn't eliminate it.
Those are basically hearing safety, like.
Yeah.
Those are hearing safety.
More for the person firing the gun than for anything else.
Because you still hear the shot from far away.
Because a lot of that, basically, like, a lot of that came from, like, James Bond movies back in the 60s. Because, like, James Bond used to go around with his water PPK and he used to screw and just... Yeah. That's where a lot of that comes from.
GoldenEye, you remember GoldenEye movie, yeah.
Like, just like a lot of... Well, not even GoldenEye, you go back earlier than that, like Man with the Golden Gun or whatever else.
Yeah.
So right back to the 60s. But yeah, it's a silly cinematic convention.
But it's there. We all know it's there. Like,
yeah.
It's a rule in cinema.
Yeah, and the fact of the matter is, I mean, yes, it's silly, but so what, man? It's fun.
Every movie you watch with Terrence are doing the same thing, and so what? Like,
yeah, it's like, for instance, like the you know, when, like, eventually, like, when that kind of sequence comes to its conclusion, and John Wick shoves a knife in your man's chest.
Same for the thing of disbelief. There's literally people, like, bleeding out in the metro, and nobody's like, I have to go to work tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
So, like, they step up on body and stuff like that. So nobody care. But you see that at the end, kind of thing, like when you see everybody stopping, moving when John Wick got excommunicado. And basically you can say that everybody in the fucking metro is an assassin. Everybody in New York is an assassin.
Yeah. Look, it's silly, but so what, man? It's fun.
It's fun. Like, make movie to have fun, not make movie to... that's actually what I said to Bob Odenkirk. I hope you had fun making that movie when you did Nobody. Because that's what it's about. It's about, like... you having fun, the audience having fun. If you're having fun, the audience having fun. Yeah, and I think, like, there's a lot of sameness within the movie, but I still enjoyed it. I enjoyed the fight sequences. In the similar veins in the first film, there were times when, like the impact. I really felt the impact of a lot of the, when someone's getting shot in the face or, like, clattered into by a car or whatever else. It was like. Oh. Also, one thing with the first movie, because of the budget, maybe the camera was a bit closer on the action, stuff like that, But this one stay wide. It just, like, this one lets you see everything that happens on the screen. Because when you have a tight budget, maybe you cannot clear you have the right to shoot on this path, but you cannot, like, stop the driving or the thing. You cannot stop those distractions there. And so you have to make it more compact. You have to zoom in on the action, to hide the team, and hide the people walking on the street, stuff like that. But, like, this movie, like, it allowed itself to play wide and to make you watch everything happening in front of you. And I think it's John Wick 2 who started the John Wick style. Do you see what I mean?
In what sense?
Like, the style of, like, wide, play with your stunt team, play with your choreography, don't cut immediately at each impact to sell the impact. It's what I think. It's like John Wick 2 and store the John Wick sauce, like. Yeah,
I mean, basically, like, the first film
was limited.
Yeah, it was limited, but at the same time, like, I think what you're right. I think it evolved.
Into the John Wick that we know now.
Yeah, absolutely. I think definitely. I mean, like, what I really like about it is that.
I think it's John Wick 2 is John Wick peak.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think again, in terms of, as a sequel, like, I honestly reckon, like, in my humble opinion, right, John Wick 2 is up there with Aliens, Terminator 2 as a fucking amazing sequel.
As a sequel, will elevate
yes.
the movie. Elevate.
Yeah.
You know, like,
it's like, I mean, you could argue, I mean, I don't know if I could turn around and honestly say it's better than the first, but I will definitely say like it's on par with the first. You know, it doesn't feel like, it feels like what they've done is they've taken the basic concept of John Wick and they've kind of, again, like with the world building and everything else. Like, for instance, the one thing we spoke about in the previous podcast was the coins.
The what?
The coins.
The coins. It's the expansion of the world. If I can repeat, because maybe nobody was going to see that.
Yeah.
So basically, in the first movie, what's good? You show that world. You show that element. You see the Continental. You see those people that are powerful. You see that everybody knows John Wick. You know, like, and you see those kind of this secret organization.
Yeah.
And then the second one. What happened when you come back to the Continental? You see a little bit more. You see like a Western, like examining coins. Like, oh, those are perfect. They can be put in the circulation immediately. You know, like, so there's people making coins. There's like the first time we heard about a table of like a hierarchy of hierarchy of power ruler. They're like, and it's the first time you hear about it, and then you discover like the under the table, those anarchists like
Lawrence Fishburne. Someone get this man a gun.
Yeah, that's
like it's
best role ever. And you see, like, it's still like we know more in John Wick 2, but it's still they introduce new stuff that you don't know anything about it. I think John Fishburne is coming back in the third one because in the I'm not going to talk about the third one now.
No, let's not do it. Let's not
do it. But like,
Lawrence Fishburne.
Yeah, it's a character that's going to be important in John Wick 4. I think he wasn't that important in John Wick 3, but like he's coming back in John Wick 4.
Right.
You know, like it's there's more into it. There's the Italian Continental, which is just a copy and paste of the. It is a copy and paste.
No. I wouldn't say it's a copy and paste. It's like this organisation, which never really is given a name.
It's
an international organisation with branches all over the world.
I think they call it the Continental. That's the
name of it. So let's call it the Continental. So the Continental has branches all over the world. It's not Continental New York. It's not Continental Rome. But they have branches. They have branches and institutions all over the world. So, like, for instance, like
it's just imagine this as a cooler version of Radisson Blu.
What?
Of Radisson Blu Hotel.
Oh god damn it! No, like all fucking Holiday Inn.
Yeah, Holiday Inn. Yeah. But cooler.
Oh, way cooler. Yeah, Peter Serafinowicz is a British actor. If you haven't seen Shaun of the Dead, why not? He's in that. But I loved him as the sommelier. Oh yes, I need something robust. What's good for after dinner? And I need desserts. And he's like, you know, walking through the guns. And, oh yes, everyone goes for the German, but can I recommend the Austrian Glock? And like afterwards, like when he's like looking for a knife, he goes, "Oh yes, the most exquisite cutlery."
I'm looking for dessert.
You know what I'm saying about it in the last podcast. Like everyone gets their gold.
Yeah.
Right, because there's something you said. It's like all the different like
branches or like services. They call it services.
Yeah, the services. All the different services.
Continental services.
Yeah, it's like all the actors that are involved in that give a little like even though they've only got like a little bit of screen time, they give a little bit of themselves to it.
Yeah.
And I think Peter Serafinowicz was a great example of that.
Everybody remember that scene because it was great. He was the only one talking in that scene and he nailed it.
Yeah.
Because we believe in his performance. The performance was perfect. Like, you know?
It was like a perfect English gentleman walking you through the wines.
Yeah, like
or in this case, walking you through
like it's a sommelier, weapon sommelier, which is like if you want something robust and precise, may I suggest you the M4.
Yeah. It's just class.
It's just so class,
really cool. I mean, like, that's what I like about, and I think that's another good example of it. It's like when someone's given the opportunity to kind of, you know, shine, they do it.
Yeah.
And I think like
even the tailor, like, you know, like also, so the new suit is Kevlar made, zero penetration, but That's certainly very painful.
Yeah.
It's still very painful.
But
Very painful, I'm afraid.
Yes.
But like you're like, yeah. But funny thing as well, it's first time I saw that, and I didn't know that before. You see that sweatshop in Italy, in Rome?
yeah,
When you see any Chinese worker working on high-end Italian products.
yeah,
So it's a thing in real world. I'm not talking about the John Wick world. In the real world, so those high-end firm. So they keep the made in Italy with the cost of making something from China.
yeah.
They brought Chinese worker to Italy and pay them the wages they have in China,
That's dirty.
so they could be on a label made in Italy.
That's dirty.
That's how the world is, like, man.
Got a lot of capitalism, man.
Yeah, but like it's a way to make it, and those people are stuck in those work as like same
Oh,
as
that's bullshit, man.
yeah, but like yeah,
That's fucking absolute horseshit. And the fact is, like, if you think about it, like, the people who run those fucking companies, man, they're fucking billionaires.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I mean, like, the guy. I mean, there's one dude, like, I can't remember. He's a French guy.
But like, it's never, do you know, it's never shown like because it's like the movie show you that like if you know you know, if you don't know. When I watched the movie in cinema, I didn't know about that, but I knew later that you know like
Yeah, but the thing is, the guy, like, if we were to, right, I can't remember the dude's name, right? But he owns like Louis Vuitton. He tried to, I think he tried to Gucci.
yeah, all those brands have
Yeah, all
like
those
Chinese
brands.
worker
Yeah.
working in Italy.
Yeah, but the geezer who runs it, he's like this French billionaire. Like he owns basically like his company, or the CEO, the company he's a CEO of. He owns all those brands.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? So those bags those Birkenstock bags that sell for like 30 grand a time. They're probably made for fucking tucker tape in it.
Yeah, because they have a Chinese worker working on it.
That's bollocks, mate.
I know.
Fuck them in the ear.
But
is what I say.
that's the problem.
Yeah, I know, it's disgusting.
So
But-
if you buy something or you get offered something made in Italy, it's probably made by Chinese worker at the same wages of the Chinese and China. Yeah, no, it's sad. It's sad, but like now I know when I see that scene, I see that like it's
Yeah,
like,
well- Yeah,
it's there. Like it's there. Everybody should know it because it was shown in the movie without any context, but well, it's part of the Italian culture now, kind of thing. It's like yeah.
Oh, I'm actually getting fucking.
No, it's
angry.
okay. We'll talk about the movie again. It's
All right,
fine,
okay.
like-
Let's veer into it, because if I start going on about politics, mate, I'll swear to.
What about the like? So John Wick go to Italy and see all those colorful people. That's still. It's
You know something? One thing I didn't want to comment on, right? I really like. Again, like I think she played it really well. Her name's Claudia Guarini. Guarini. Again, I'm really sorry for butchering these Italian names.
Oh, the sister.
The sister, like, she was definitely one of those actors who fucking put something herself into it. I thought she she was chewing the scenery. Don't get me wrong.
Well, she take her time.
And not only that, one thing I will say about it is this, right? And like, okay, the fact that she took her own life on her own terms, I liked that.
Yeah.
I like that. It's like John Wick comes in. Obviously, he's going to do the number on her, but she's like, she disrobes. She gets into this big fucking bath.
She was going.
But she reveals a knife, and he goes, why? And he goes, if I live my life on my terms, I'm going to take myself out on my terms. I kind of like that.
It gives
So-
some character.
so, yeah.
It gives some some power of character.
Yeah, I mean, like, thing is, like, again, I mean, this is one thing that John Wick, like, at least with the first two John Wick films, they do really effectively.
It's
like,
also It's also
they tell a lot without they show, don't tell, or if they do tell, they allow the audience they credit the audience with enough intelligence to know that obviously, like, this woman, she's been a fucking G. She's been a gangster.
And also, she's a gangster, but a noble gangster, because the two brothers are the yin and the yang, pretty much.
The brother and sister.
The brothers and sisters are yin and yang.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's the rightful the just, and the brother is the scumbag.
Yeah.
Because what's the first thing that John Wick, after he killed this woman, he's trying to get rid of him.
Yeah.
He could have just not get rid of him.
Yeah.
Remove the mark and just go as you go now.
Yeah, but no.
But he should not to, because he's a fucking scumbag.
Yeah, he betrayed him straight away. So obviously,
Because
there's gonna be
I
repercussions.
think he betrayed him because he didn't shoot. Because he didn't say yes in the first place, or something
No.
like that. Because he's
I don't think so. No. He was a scumbag. I mean, in fairness, Yeah, cool. Actually, grab another beer out of the fridge.
Whoa!
May as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, in terms of like how the strength of the film. Get two, man.
I don't know if it's me.
Get one for yourself.
Okay, I'll get one.
Right. Sorry. And there's a bottle opener on the top shelf there. We're leaving all this in, by the way. This is going to get cut out.
That's a bit.
Must have killed one of me. Oops. I'll go right about that later. Soldier.
Sancho.
So, yeah, I mean, like, I think like Santino D'Antonio was a great villain. Like, I liked Ricardo Scamarcio. Sorry if I'm really apologise. I really do apologise for butchering these names. I thought he was a great actor. He was a great actor in The Ruthless. Again, do recommend that movie. Go watch it. It's fantastic. He was a great villain. I loved. I mean, again, although he got a lot more time than Claudio Gennari, like the fact that you could definitely see there was a difference in their characters. I mean, even from the very fucking get-go, he goes up to John Wick, he knocks on the door, John Wick opens the door reluctantly, right? Comes in, how you doing? They know each other. Again,
Everybody knows each other.
Everybody knows each other. Everyone knows who John Wick is, but John Wick knows who everyone else is. Everyone knows each other, right? And again, the thing I like about that is it credits the audience with intelligence. It says, okay, we know these characters know each other, all right? We don't need some big long expositional dialogue about, oh yeah, when they first met each other and how they like partied in Rome or some shit like that.
No.
That right, and not only that, he says, during your impossible task. I mean, it was a little bit expositional,
but they talk about that. They talk about that in the first movie. It was like one exceptional task, so he can leave this criminal world. Like.
Yeah. So he done him a favour. God bless your heart. He done him a favour. That favour was then. Now, obviously, like he wants this favour repaid, but the fact that he turned up prepared with a fucking grenade launcher to blow up his house if he turns around and said no, he obviously expected there to be a no.
No, no wasn't an option, and you want to make it clear.
So that's why he blew him up. Blew up his house.
Or he tried to blow him up as well with the house.
Maybe not. I mean, maybe he expected John Wick to survive out of it. Let's be honest, like, look, if someone fires a grenade launcher into your house, you're not walking away from it.
No, but John Wick did.
John Wick did. So, sorry about this, it's a bit chaotic today.
Oh, fuck's sake.
It's alright, man, it's alright.
It's okay.
Sit down, let's get the conversation going. But yeah, like, yeah, I mean, I like the fact that all the characters know each other. There isn't any kind of, like, they don't go into details about what the impossible task was.
No.
And I'm pretty sure someone will write a fanfic about what it was. But no, I think it was like, you know, while it was slightly expositional, like sometimes the dialogue, I would say the dialogue and the writing, again, this movie is also very plot driven. So it is point A to point B to point C to point D, very much so. But the one thing I do like about this movie, the one criticism I do have, is sometimes when they do talk, there is that kind of, they don't talk like real people. There is a kind of like, while they don't necessarily explain, there is a kind of weirdness to the dialogue.
A bit of like mystery kind of.
Yeah, it's almost like I'd say, if I was going to criticise John Wick 2, that would be definitely one of the criticisms. It's like, it's almost like...
It's biblical. Like a kind of like a mythological, like that, like
theatrical.
Theatrical. In the first movie, it was like it was more like grounded. The dialogue were more grounded, and this one is a bit more mystery, a bit more like eloquent, a bit more, you know, like yeah.
I'd say so. Like, don't get me wrong, there's lots of references back to the first one, especially there's that one sequence where John Wick does actually kill 3 dudes with a pencil.
Yeah, so you saw him doing that again.
Yes.
So he did that twice, but like we didn't see the first time,
But you
he
definitely see it
the
again.
second one.
So yeah, I mean, yeah, there's lots of little callbacks. There's lots of little breadcrumbs. I don't think. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think the dialogue is not quite as strong in this one. The cinematography is much better. Like the end sequence where they're fighting through the room of mirrors, the opening sequence where they're driving through New York and everything's lit, everything's shot at night and everything's lit up in neon.
Yeah.
There's so, I mean, in terms of like where the budget's been spent, I mean, you can definitely tell, like, in terms of the cinematography, in terms of the action, what much better. Mm-hmm. But unfortunately, I think the dialogue did take a bit of a hit with this one.
I know, yeah. Or the lack of, with the actress do silent voices.
Oh yeah. I mean, in fact, what was that? The Ruby Rose.
Ruby Rose. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought she was really good as that, like this, as the henchman.
It's a something you're gonna see a lot in John Wick is the henchman.
Yeah.
Like the one who's going for John Wick. The first one we saw, it was always two, to be fair. There was the William Dafoe and this woman killer.
Oh yeah, I know it's all about.
Yeah, they were supposed to be the two.
Miss Perkins.
Yeah, Miss Perkins, and Miss Perkins died. So she's basically the new Miss Perkins. But it's always like this, you know, like there's always a hitchman, and the hitchman is always have something special. You know, like each movie, you know, like it's not only every hitchman.
Yeah.
This one is silent. This one is a mute, and the next one is a Japanese master. And the third one, I don't know what the third one's gonna be. I know actually what the fourth one is gonna be.
Yeah. We'll worry about it.
I got spoiled myself a little bit, but like it's quite funny. It's quite funny up there. But yeah, it's always like something like, you know, like yeah.
Mm.
But yeah, also the choreography was better. The special effect was better when they were in the tunnel.
Oh yeah.
All those the dust and stuff like that. I think those are CGI.
Yeah, I think from what I understand, I think there was a sequence where like they're driving across the bridge. I think it is.
Yeah.
And the whole thing was done in CGI.
What bridge? That's the third one bridge.
I know. Oh, was it? Anyway, there's probably a lot more CGI, but the CGI is obviously a lot better in it again because they have the budget.
The blood splatter, like there's it's cool. Everything, all the impacts are good. Like
yeah.
Sound wise as well, it's a brilliant movie. Yeah.
Oh yeah, especially like what was it when there's that scene where the Claire Generi's character Gianna D'Antonio, she's walking away from the gig and she walks to the back room where she meets her fate. But then you hear the audio kind of go from being like a live thing to recorded, but it's done very smoothly.
Same thing when they actually John Wick and the actor Common,
yeah.
Or played by Cassian.
No. Common is the dude, and he's a rapper. And Cassian was his character.
Okay, doesn't have the last name. It's Common.
Common.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, in the first time they met, the music just go a bit like muffled, so they can hear what they're saying, which is disbelief as well, because we hear that the music was like very loud.
Yeah.
But like you can say that maybe the music deepened, but it's like extra diegetic, so they don't know the music deepened, but like the audience make the music go quieter. Yeah. And very cool. There's a lot of things like that. I say like, there's a lot of moments where John Wick leave the place. For example, when he leave the Jewish bank, there's always a moment where he leave the place and the guy beyond like say something cool, you know, like, and then he turn back and say nothing and go. You see that with the wine sommelier.
Yeah.
You say like say something.
Enjoy the party, Mr.
When you see that with the Jewish banker and say like good hunting, Mr. Wick in Jewish, of course, and in Hebrew. And when you go to sommelier, you just go face the camera like this and turn around and say, "Enjoy your night, Mr. Wick."
Yeah.
Yeah, but like, there's always like it's a John Wick. It's
John Wickism.
Yeah, John Wickism, like a very. It's a very John Wick shot, like to do. But like, it's there's a lot of a bit of John Wick cliche kind of thing, but like, you know, when they're killing each other, but then they go to the Continental and that's like, Gina, right. Bourbon. But like, you know, like they tell the drinks of choice, like, you know, like
because basically, because what happens there is like him and Common
after the death
of Gianni and D'Antonio, John Wick and Cassian have this like, well, once John Wick gets away from all the other henchmen, the two of them have a fight through the streets
because he killed his
ward.
His ward.
Yeah.
Like they all talk like knight. They all talk like a medieval.
Yeah.
You know, like yeah.
Yeah, there is definitely like
excommunicado. You know, being like it always. There's always a
terminology.
There's a gravitas every time they speak. You know, like yeah.
There's a terminology that they all use.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's this huge. The two of them fight through the streets of Rome.
Yeah.
And they end up in the Continental, and they're about to fucking like stab each other.
Yeah, stab each other. Yeah.
And then like out comes what's his name again? Franco Nero as Julius. Julius is basically the Roman Winston.
Exactly. Basically, you can just have the character who play Winston and just dye his hair blonde or do like a thing. It's the same character, same way to speaking, same also like body kind of movement, stuff like that. You know, like
Well, but basically, like it's the Continental.
And one of the best jokes in the movie when you go to Italy and nobody know who his contract is, and the guy's like, Are you here for the Pope? Are you here for the Pope? It's like no. No. Okay, it's fine.
But yeah, I think obviously like Rome's a beautiful city, but so it kind of gives you an insight to the world. The world building again is phenomenal, right? And the fact that not only that, we were talking earlier about the Undertable, Lawrence Fishburne, the whole kind of the Bowery King is his name.
Yeah, and also it also talked very religious figure.
Yeah.
Like God, please, or like it talked like a
preacher,
a galvanizing preacher, a crazy preacher, kind of a way of talking.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of religious. It's same there's a lot of religious iconography with the excommunicado, the Rome, for example, thing. The Pope as well. Like people are worried, like, oh, are you here for the Pope? Something.
Yeah, as someone who's brought up a Catholic, there's a lot of Catholicism, heavy imagery, and Rome is definitely if you could argue maybe slightly heavy-handed, but it's definitely a reference to the Continental.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the one thing I really want to kind of drive home more than anything else, though,
go on.
is whether it's in Rome, whether it's in New York, wherever they are, the visuals, some of the shot selection, some of the lighting. Yes, right. When he's fighting, I think you pointed out previously, is that when he's escaping from his job, shall we say?
Yeah.
Like in Rome. And he's under in the tunnels in these little catacombs.
They're like secret passage that nobody knows about. But he paid a cartographer to find the secret tunnel and stuff like that.
But also the way they're all lit.
They look cool.
It looks great
because it look cool if you want to lead a path in a museum and stuff like that. If you want to look through old Roman tunnel and catacombs, yeah. But it doesn't really make sense if nobody went there and nobody know about those tunnels.
Yeah.
Why they are lit, why there's
suspension of disbelief.
Suspension of disbelief. And also, it looked for a cool scene with the arcs, with the stone, with the blue and stuff like that. It's a very cool, very.
It's
cool
much
set.
more colourful than the first.
Yeah.
Way more colourful.
That. You gotta see that the third one also is very colourful as well.
Yeah, but in terms of this one, it's way more as a direct comparison to the first movie, because the first movie was very kind of shot in blue. There's a very blue tint to everything that was shot.
Yeah.
Whereas for this one,
Blue
yes, there's still that kind of blue and grey thing, but the aesthetic is a lot more colourful. There's a lot more lighting involved. Whether it's the first scene where it's almost like a recap of the first film.
Yeah. Yes. It's just the first movie in short one. So they talk about the pencil. They give his Baba Yaga name.
Yeah.
They talk about the dog. Basically, it's a short. John Wick 1.
Recap, yeah.
Recap.
A little recap.
Without showing you a flashback
thing
of what happened previously in John Wick 1. They just make that scene with the cousin, which is basically the same character. They have the same character. It's a Russian mob.
Yeah.
And they come back for the car and stuff like that. He come back for the car and get the car back.
Yeah.
And instead of to close this part with the Russian family, he asks for peace. But giving the glass, they ask for peace, and okay, peace. So we never hear about the Russian family again.
Yeah, I mean, that's done now.
This book is closed. It
Yeah.
was closed at the first movie, but it closed it twice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is the bookend. This is like, okay, right, the first movie's done. Now we're on a fucking
Yeah.
new adventures.
So and then the other bad guy can show up to his house, like
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and yeah, I mean, but in terms of this, again, I mean, again with budget, again with the obviously much bigger budget. So therefore, like as you said, like in the first, say for the first film, the action was shot like this. The second in the sequel, the action shot like this.
yes. So it's much more wider.
Yeah.
Did I talk that in the first
Yeah,
scene?
yeah,
No, I
yeah,
did. Yeah. So that everything is like this bigger screen. Everything is like they took more in the image. Like
You could see more, and again, like the fact they introduced colours, but the way they introduced colours is like while very artificial, it still looks like the last sequence, the chase sequence where like he's catching up with the Riccardo Scamarcio's character, Santino. Like they do it for like this art exhibition in New York.
Oh yeah, the neon light and the statue
Oh,
and stuff
and the
like
mirrors.
that. Yeah, all the
Oh,
I think
mate.
the mirror scene is a bit cliche. You know,
But it's fantastically shot, like.
it's fantastically shot, yeah. To be fair, and it's like fair play for like not having the camera showing up twice because I saw that scene before.
Technically,
it was
that would be a very
because
difficult
I
thing
was
to do.
I was nitpicking that scene. I was like looking, I was looking at the movie like this when I seen it coming. I was like, am I going to see the camera in the shot or not? Like,
Yeah.
like I was like, I want to see the camera in the shot.
I mean, that would have been an incredibly difficult thing to shoot. I mean, I'd say there's probably a bit of
mirrors,
CGI involved.
mirrors. Yeah, there's always that part. Yeah, CGI.
Yeah,
Like
but
masking the camera out.
exactly. But again, like when it comes to CGI, they were using CGI when it was necessary.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And that's what I really love about this: the fact that, like, it's not heavy-handed. When it's needed, they insert it. But you know, it's not such. It's not done to the point where you can actually point out, oh look, there's the CGI shot.
And they play with the mirror, like they did a classic mirror thing when you think that John Wick is there, but actually that's not him. They're like that's something you saw in mirror scene.
Yeah, it's like what happens there is like there's a henchman. He turns around, he shoots John Wick's reflection, and John Wick comes around the corner and just shoots him.
It's a classic John Wick thing when the guy is like John Wick shoot through the wall. Like you see that in the first one.
Yeah.
We see it twice in the museum as well
Yeah.
happening. But what I like is they did a cool shot. Do you know like the exit of that mirror section in the museum?
Yeah.
You have two doors with a thing, and John Wick's like walking through the doors, and you see the doors like opening, stuff like that. And the last one, you see the end of the room, so you think you're in POV vision of John Wick.
But it's not.
It is because when the door opens, we don't see John Wick. It's like.
It's really. Oh no, you didn't see it. You
didn't see that scene.
Yeah.
Basically, you think that's just a shot of John Wick walking in front of the camera, but actually no. The door opens, and it's actually we were seeing John Wick through the eyes of John Wick.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool idea. Cool idea.
So much like again, like you can really see where the money went, and it absolutely went in terms of visuals, undoubtedly, and this is where you can say you can almost justify. I mean, I kind of laid into executives in the previous episode, and justifiably so, might I add. But you can see that like the executives had faith in the sequel, so they were willing to put more money down, and they let the creative team be creative with that budget, and they did absolutely. Like it's again, it's all very hyper real. We've said that a few times, and But some of the shot selection. There's one shot where like the bad guy again, like Riccardo Scamarcio. Sorry if I'm butchering the name.
Just say his name as a bad guy.
Alright, Santino Di Antonio. Then.
It's exactly.
Right, there's this one shot where he's on the phone, and there's these like Greek statues around him, and it's all lit beautifully, and it's like, oh mate, it's done low in a wide angle. It's just chef's kiss. Some of the shots are absolutely fantastic in this film.
Yeah.
Technically, it's whether it's like lighting, action, everything else, it is without doubt an upgrade.
Yeah.
Not just an escalation; it's an upgrade from the first film, no question.
So do you think that the dialogues are like maybe on the sacrifice of the dialogue we have the best image
Yeah, I'd say one definitely got sacrificed for the other.
Yeah,
A little bit.
the movie was very dialogue heavy. To be fair,
Compared to the first
and it
one,
was
yeah.
snappy. The first one was better dialogue. It was snappy. It was funny, and it was like
Minimal.
It was minimal and snappy and funny. Yeah, because all the background thing was done by dialogue. All the storytelling and stuff like that was done by dialogue, and then there was the fight scene. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think there's a little bit more exposition in this film, and I think, to be honest with you, like, I don't know, I mean, like we said before, like, John Wick was definitely lightning in a bottle. Do you know what I mean?
The first John Wick.
So the first John Wick was definitely lightning in a bottle. The second film is an escalation. It's an evolution. It's
a sequel. It's the first John Wick bigger.
Yeah.
Like you see, like Evil Dead 1 and Evil Dead 2 is just basically Evil Dead 1 but bigger. And yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, but it is a good sequel. I mean, I don't think it's better than the first. I mean, the more I think about it, I can't, with all good conscience, say it's better than the first.
Better visual than the first.
Yeah, there are improvements, without question. There are improvements, but would I say it's better than the first? No. I'd say, I wouldn't even say it's on par. I'd probably say, look, don't get me wrong, it's a good sequel. It's a really good sequel, and there's so many things that they do right. But would I say it's better than the first? I don't think so.
I think the action is better. I think the image is better.
Yeah. It's
I
definitely
think
more.
The story building is better.
Yeah.
Not better, no more. So more story building, better choreography, better action scene, crazier. Sometimes if it's a bit silly and crazier, I'll take it. I love the scene when they're shooting through with a silent gun. Pew 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 pew.
Yeah.
So like it's
silly.
So it's silly because everybody's walking and it's basically like to like try to stay normal, but somebody's shooting at him. So like it's like avoiding the bullets. Like
Yeah.
it's close.
And the thing is, like, I mean, also like the fact that usually John Wick, I don't think there's the efficiency. I mean, I think with the first one was very efficient.
Yeah.
In everything that he did. I think with the second one, because it's gone that little bit bigger, it's sacrificed that efficiency.
Okay.
And I think that's what I think really kind of.
Also,
the more I examine it, the more kind of
talking
bothers
about
me
efficiency in John Wick, the second one, he gets shot a lot.
He does.
He does get shot a lot. Like like he got shot in the back, he got shot in the thing, but because he has his plot armor.
Yeah.
This new plot armor, he has like a Kevlar.
It's a Kevlar suit. I mean, it's stupid.
But but like they keep saying like, oh yeah, it will hurt. Like yeah.
I think that's kind of like them waving it away a little bit.
Yeah, that's
they
like,
know what they're doing.
Like basically every time they do something silly with a gun and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like if you're gun nerd, you say like, oh, the silencer doesn't work like that or stuff like that. But at the same time, you see his perfect shotgun reload kind of thing. Yeah. And all the gun notes are like, that was cool.
Yeah, but there's just one scene, you know when he's again in the catacombs.
Yeah.
Like there's just one shot where like he's pinning your man down.
And do like a reload.
And he does a reload and then shoots him while he's upside down.
Yeah.
Class.
But like no, all this reload when he's doing those shotgun reload thing.
Oh yeah.
They're like proper like.
Like Keanu Reeves is like, you can tell that man knows how to handle a weapon.
Yeah. But like every time there's something silly happening, there's always something like technically accurate happening in the movie.
Yeah.
So basically, all the guys work because there's a lot of people criticizing movie. For example, like there's this thing about like a guy was passionate of aviation, and so like, oh man, there's a new Top Gun movie. Like you love jet plane and you love like American fighter jet and stuff like that. You should watch Top Gun 2. And the guy came off the movie. He's like, "Do you like it?" He said, "No, I hated it because like it was silly. No plane is like fighting that close anymore, stuff like that."
Yeah, but it's a movie, man.
It's because you have the knowledge shouldn't impair you to like something. You shouldn't hate something because you have the knowledge of something.
Yeah, well, the thing is, what you got to bear. This is the thing: suspension of disbelief.
You have to allow yourself to enjoy the movie.
Yeah, you basically right. You're in another world, right? And because you're in this other world has different rules to the world that we exist in.
It's like people saying, "Oh, I hate Star Wars because they have explosion in space and sound in space, and it's not possible."
Mate, there's fucking aliens. People, look, it's stupid. Star Wars is stupid, but again, you've got to suspend your disbelief. You've got to go into any movie. It doesn't matter what it is, like how close it is to real life. Like, it's not real life.
No, it's not.
So don't judge it on those parameters.
John Wick, every time they tell you this is not real life. And you have to accept it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not judging...
It's not the world that you know. It looked like it, but it's not the world.
It's hyper-real.
Hyper-real,
yeah. So, like, you know, I mean, for me personally, I'm not going to judge John Wick 2 on real life. I'm going to judge John Wick 2 compared to John Wick 1.
Yeah.
And I think that's the comparison that should be made. I mean, again, I think John Wick 1 was definitely lightning in a bottle. It was like a unique film. It came out at the perfect time. There was any amount of trouble getting it released. There was all sorts of issues in terms of like trying to get a distributor. It finally got a distributor with Lionsgate and Summit.
Yeah.
If you notice in the second one, Warner Brothers is now behind it.
Yeah.
Right. So you've got a massive studio now that are willing to put their dollars into the marketing and everything.
They call them coins.
Yeah. Oh yeah, those gold coins. They're going to put their gold coins into the marketing of this.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you can see, like now that they believe in it, they're willing to put the money into it. And the problem is, like at some point, yes, definitely the budget is like every single red cent of it is definitely shown on screen. But do I think it lost a little bit in the translation? I think it did. Mm-hmm. If I'm being honest,
it's always the case when there's more people working on something.
Yeah, maybe so.
Sometimes when there's more people, like there's a few people, one vision, like the thing is like straight. But when there's more vision, the scope like go larger, and sometimes you missed a little bit, you know, like.
Yeah, I mean, like it's not. I mean, the thing is, like John Wick 2. Don't get me wrong, John Wick 2 is a really fun film. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But if I'm going to compare it to the first one, like in direct terms, do I think it's as good? I don't think it is. I think it's actually. I think it's a. While I enjoyed the characters, I enjoyed the world building. There's a lot about this film that I genuinely enjoyed, like without question. But there's something about the first one, something intangible about the first one.
And also it's economical in the first one. You know, like,
yeah, there's that. Yeah,
that's something I hate about. That's something I hate about the third one. It's too much sometimes.
Okay, well we'll
talk about the third one.
Yeah, we'll talk about the third one, but
in the next video.
Yeah, but with this one, I just think that it definitely lost a little bit of it, like its identity in the second film by going that bit bigger, by expand. Because like now. Because what I mean, don't get me wrong. It still left that little bit of mystery, but not as much. It's not as mysterious anymore.
It did try to. Do you know that when the sister was talking to that guy, it was maybe a thread for the next movie.
Yeah.
Was he talking to? I don't even know. Like she was like, I don't know. It was a thread that was left there. I think that was never used in the third one.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, but. Yeah, with the actor of I don't know his actor. Like no, it was not common. It was like before she go to the bathhouse, she was talking with that other guy. Before it's a thread that was left there, but like I don't think anybody was going to.
The actor, he's not up in here, is he? Oh yeah, he is. It's Chakwundi Iwuji.
You saw him. You saw him in.
He's in the Guardians of the Galaxy movie. He's the High Executioner.
And he's also in the movie with John Cena, Peacemaker. Was
he in Peacemaker?
It's in Peacemaker. It's the. I'm not going to spoil the movie. The
TV series.
Is in Peacemaker.
I watched
It's the CIA boss.
Oh yeah. You're right. Fuck. Sorry, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I totally forgot about that. But yeah, he's the High Execution, the Grand Evolutionary. Or something like that. I don't know. Fucking stop. It's Marvel. It makes no sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's in the new Guardians of the Galaxy movie. Violet Cancer's brilliant in it.
Yeah.
But yeah, like so. Yeah, there's lots of little. Yeah, I mean, like I enjoy it. Yeah, I enjoy it. Like Lawrence Fishburne is the anti-Morpheus.
But it's so great that we want more.
Yeah.
We want more Fishburne.
Yeah.
It was so cool. That
I mean, Lawrence Fishburne.
So like, he gave John Wick a gun. It's like,
someone get this man a gun.
I'm giving you a gun with 2 charger. But let me just take this with 2
bullets because every bullet's worth $1 million. Yeah, I like that.
It's like he does show him. It's so asshole like. He does show the gun with like 2 magazine, but
He takes one.
takes
away.
one back because you know what? $7 million, 7 bullets.
Yeah. So because because the contract guy, like, because the bad guy, Santino, he puts out a contract on John Wick
After he finishes work. Like.
After he finished his work. So complete fucking scumbag. I mean, like, I like. I don't know. I'm really kind of struggling with this actually, because I enjoy it. I love.
It's hard to pick up something. It's hard to destroy something that you enjoy. Like
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed the movie. I really fucking did, but I just don't think it's as good as the first one. And I just think that for all the positives this movie does have, and it does have many, there's something very intangible about the first movie that I just don't think the second one captures. And this is the problem with sequels.
It's the problem with budget as well. A higher budget in the franchise sometimes can ruin the movie.
Yeah, maybe so. I think, definitely. But also, I don't think it ruins the movie. Don't get me wrong. Again, I enjoy John Wick 2.
Yeah, I did enjoy it too.
But
we're gonna see, like, for example, like I want to see Nobody 2 and see how it's going to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, because that's because it's also an interesting like, you know, like it's interesting to see what make a good sequel, you know. Like, what make a good sequel, and like as experience, like, you know, like there's great sequels that work, Aliens, Terminators, maybe Spider-Man 2.
Spider-Man 2.
Sam Raimi Spider-Man 2.
The original trilogy, not fucking amazing.
It's
Spider-Man.
like, sometimes the second one could be great if the vision is stay put.
Yeah.
But sometimes, you know, like the money stay on the way, or do you know, like the scope, like the amount of stuff that you put in the movie, just like defocus the scope of the movie a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point to make, because I think, like, when you've got a tight budget, the
scope is simple, clear, and precise.
Yeah, because you have to wring every dollar out.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Whether it's the actors, whether it's the cinematography, everything else, you know that whether it's the amount of time that you have to shoot. Yeah. But when that scope gets broadened by having a bigger budget, then sometimes that can almost get in the way of creativity. It's like creativity. Like, I remember hearing one time, creativity is born out of limitation. Mm-hmm. Right? You've got to think to yourself, okay, then if I don't have everything I have available to me, then what can I do with what I do have available to me? Mm-hmm. And when you have more available, and this is funny enough, technically this is actually a better movie.
It is technically a better movie.
Like,
better shot, better sound, better like choreography, better action, better humor. But the essence is but like, it's not going to be like, it's a thing as well. It's not going to be John Wick again, because John Wick happened before.
Yeah, but this is almost.
But do you want the same thing? Do you want the same thing?
No, it's not. No. This is not the point I'm making. The point I'm making is, like, what you're trying to do is, like, when you're taking that brilliant first concept.
But you need to expand. When you make a
sequel, yeah. Look, you're right in what you're saying. I'm not disagreeing with you at all. What I'm saying is, like, the problem is, like, when again, creativity is born out of limitation.
Yeah.
Right, like, for instance, what we're doing.
Yeah.
Like, we are very limited in our budget. We have no budget.
Yeah.
So therefore, we have to do what we can with what we've got.
Yeah.
This is a mantra that we use. So, but at the same time, and with the first John Wick, you can definitely see that they did what they could with what they had. And in the sequel, and again, want to stress this: the sequel's a good movie. I enjoyed it. I had a really fucking good time. But there's just something intangible about the broadening of the scope that somehow a little bit of the magic was lost. Mm. And I don't know how to quite put my finger on it. I don't know how to necessarily articulate it, because technically it is a better movie in terms of the fact that, you know, again, like we've gone into, like, you know, better shooting, better lighting, better cinematography, better action. Everything else is better. Mm-hmm. But somehow it's not a better movie than the original. And we can only judge John Wick 2 against John Wick 1. And this is the problem, because with sequels, you are always going to judge it by its predecessor.
I don't think we should judge,
No, but you're going to do it anyway. I think it's natural for us, like, especially when you're movie heads like we are. Like, you're going to do it. It can't be helped. You are going to do it. Yes, you should definitely judge a movie on its own merits, and I think we have done that. And I think that, again, John Wick 2 is a brilliant film.
And I think what you're going to see, what you're talking about, I think we're going to see that more in John Wick 3. Because I was, okay, we're going to talk about this movie on the next video, but I was a bit sick of the action in John Wick.
3.
Yeah.
Parabellum.
It started I'm going to talk about it next week. I keep saying that, but there's some scene that's like, oh, it's going down forever, and they show you one trope and they keep repeating the same trope there. Yeah, we understand. Yeah, you can use a dog as a weapon. It's fine. It's okay. You don't need to show it 15 times in the scene. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the problem. Is like, I think, yeah, I mean,
I think we pretty much say everything.
Yeah, I think we have said everything. Right, so let me just round it out by saying this.
Okay.
Right. Is John Wick 2 a good movie? Yes. Brilliant movie. Will you have a good time watching it?
Yes.
Yes. Absolutely. You're going to have a fucking brilliant time with it. But unfortunately, I come away from it in this during the course of this conversation and really kind of examining my thoughts on the movie. I think there's something intangible about the more the scope is expanded. I think we'll talk about sequels. Like, what makes Aliens a better sequel than as good as the first one?
Because
it's not the same movie. It's not the same type of movie.
It's not the same type of movie, and also it's you're just stuck in a ship in the first one with the world, but you don't know much about the world. And same, you expand in the second one.
Yeah, but the thing is also, but in the first film, right, the first Aliens movie, the Ridley Scott original, is a horror film in space.
It's a slasher.
The second movie is an action film in space.
Yeah.
Right? So they're very different films. They can be judged on their own merits. Yes, they call back to each other, but at the same time, there is enough difference in the two where you're not this. But the problem is with sequels, and this is where I think sequelitis comes into the fray, is that when you're just doing the same thing but bigger, and then you have got to go bigger on the next one and bigger on the next one and bigger on the next one, is that it becomes more diluted as you go further into the series. And this is the big problem with sequelitis. And I think this is where John Wick starts to suffer. Like, yes, again, want to emphasise this, had a brilliant time with it, really enjoyed it, but it's just the same but more.
Same but more.
And if you can't expect to capture that magic the first time around, because the same but more is not the same.
It's like you gotta talk about John Wick 3, but it's tiring. I think that's the movie that said the problem with John Wick, if you watch them, also those movies, maybe you shouldn't watch them back to back.
Yeah, like we're gonna do.
So it's better that you watch in the cinema, forget about it.
Yeah.
Come back 2 years later when the second one come out.
Yeah.
And remember how good the first movie was.
Yeah.
But we're living in a time that everything is accessible right now.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. There's movies like this, they are excellent to watch back to back. I'm talking about Lord of the Rings. I'm talking about
they were shot together.
They were shot together. I'm talking about Star Wars because the continuity was there, stuff like that. But you see, some movie you shouldn't make a sequel and make it bigger. You should make a sequel and
make it different.
Make it not different, keep the same, but go a different route or
that's what I mean.
Expand it, but expand it I don't know. I think this movie did everything it has to do.
No, I think again. I mean, I can't.
This movie,
I can't stress it enough. It's
actually,
a good movie.
It actually making everything it has to do, but there's something that was lost in the process.
Yeah. I think, like I said, I just think whatever magic the first one had, it's been diluted a little bit in the second. And I think
this is getting diluted more. That's the thing with the franchise. I think
and this is the problem with franchise, sequelitis, franchising, everything else. The reason why I think Marvel worked for as long as it did until it started not working.
It was diluted at the end.
It's become diluted now. It's become like the Marvel formula is now so fucking obvious that, you know, it's like, oh yeah, another Marvel.
Nothing is new.
Yeah, nothing is new. It's like there's no freshness to it. There's no what's the word I'm looking for? There's no freshness, there's no newness, there's no like
There's no spark, there's
yeah.
no
it's just the same but different, same but different, same but different. And yeah.
I wonder how the Guardian of the Galaxy did. Like apparently it's pretty good, the third one.
I've heard very mixed
reviews
about it, yeah.
Yeah. The formula maybe got diluted a bit too much.
But also, like, I've heard that John, what's his name again? Director. James Gunn. James Gunn, basically, he didn't have any other writers involved. He wrote the movie entirely himself, the third one, whereas in the first two, there was other writers involved.
That's the problem with some movie, for example, like for Star Wars got like help from another writer, the first trilogy. And then the prequel was only George Lucas, and he went through shit with dialogues and stuff like that, you know, like, so like, oh, this director is great, let's put it. The thing is, a movie is not one man. It's not about one actor or one director. A movie is a team, you know, like, Denis Villeneuve is maybe a great director, but it's maybe not that's great if he doesn't have the team he has.
100%.
100%.
100%.
Movies are not made by one person.
No.
Never.
And the thing is, like, if you have too much, I think, especially when you got like so many moving parts, like if a movie becomes almost like unwieldy. It's like the creator has unmitigated creativity.
That's what happened in Star Wars. Prequel,
So like he has unmitigated creativity. He's like
unlimited budget.
Unlimited budget, and so basically he can do whatever the fuck he wants. And like I said at the start of this, creativity is born out of limitation. And if you remove limitation, you get unwieldy, bloated nonsense movies. Now, would I say John Wick 2 is a bloated, unwieldy nonsense movie? No, but you can definitely start seeing that.
It's the beginning of the end.
It's the beginning of the end, yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think watching the third one will be interesting next week.
Yeah.
Because I think, because I have seen the third one prior to this, but I've only seen it once. I've actually only seen this once before as well. John Wick Part 2. But what I think, same happened to The Matrix.
Yeah.
Like the first movie was lightning in a bottle, and it was amazing when it came out. The sequels were more the same but bigger, and again, unlimited budgets, unlimited creativity, unlimited. Like, there was no one putting the brakes on. There was no one like pulling back a little bit, saying, "Do we need to do this?" You know. And I think, John Wick, you can definitely start seeing.
Like, oh, sorry, sir, I don't think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
Like somebody in the room saying, I think it's not a good idea.
Yeah, there's no limitation. And I think this is the start of...
Going back to Star Wars as
where
well.
John Wick became almost formulaic. This is like the John Wick formula, the John Wick formula was beautifully distilled in the first one, but I think the second one it wasn't just distilled, it was ingrained.
Maybe it's a phenomenon, because of... Is it the same director in both movies?
I don't know. The sequel is directed by Chad Stahelski, and I'm just double check that now. John Wick. Let's do this quickly. I don't want to spend too much time on this. John Wick 1. Was directed two directors.
Yeah.
Chad Stahelski and David Leitch.
And the problem is, I think it's because the director did so well in the first movie. Nobody wants to step in. Nobody wants to step in to say, it's a bad idea. You should not do that.
Yeah.
Oh, let me do this instead or something like that. You know, like.
Yeah.
And the problem that was going back to Star Wars. That was the problem with George Lucas. George Lucas, when he started Star Wars, the first movie, The New Hope, he gave the script to other director, Martin Scorsese, stuff like that. And for example, some of the great idea didn't come from George Lucas. It came from Martin Scorsese, or it came from his friend, or it came from
Spielberg.
His wife was doing the editing, and she said the editing, your editing is shit. Like at some point, at the beginning of the movie, we're cutting back from the movie was starting with Luke Skywalker, going in the desert, doing his thing and stuff like that, and the plot was going through the Darth Vader and Luke together. No, don't do that. Leave the plot with Darth Vader. and when later on introduce your main character. You don't need to introduce in the beginning.
Yeah.
So like just do this like different. Like
I think with movies especially, I think with movies, with music, music as well, like certain art forms that are very much a collaborative process, right? And with cinema, very much so. And the more sometimes, like, don't get me wrong, like it can be too crowded sometimes, and too many, especially executives. Like,
I don't think executives should be the one saying
no.
something.
There should be other creatives turn around and saying, like, okay, or whether it's other directors, other writers, whatever.
Even actors say, like,
actors.
I don't really like that scene. Can we do something different?
Yeah, I mean, in fairness, like Harrison Ford did that with George Lucas in the first trilogy. He was like, George, you do realise no one talks like this.
Yeah.
You know, so there's certain things. So yeah, that part of collaborative process, ideas coming in, everything
Doesn't have to be conflict.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be conflict, but there has to be other kind of voices coming in to kind of restrain the creativity a little bit, so it maintains its focus. I just think that with John Wick 2, I just think that the dilution is starting to happen, and you know, I haven't seen Parabellum in a little while now, so I'm a little bit concerned going into the third one, which we are still going to do. But yeah, I can see why people started again. Oh, I don't know. I'm conflicted now.
We need to finish now. It's been an hour now.
Over an hour?
Yeah, over an hour.
Okay, look, well, what we'll do is we'll leave it here. But what I will say is this. Look, don't let us dissuade you from watching John Wick 2 if you haven't already. Please don't.
This is not... we don't say that John Wick is bad.
No. John Wick 2 is not a bad movie.
Like, the last part we had was like the problem with sequel and the problem with... like director who giving like full control of something with no interruption, no like thing. Sometimes I think somebody tell you like you shouldn't do that. You should listen to other people. Listen to other people's opinion. Like
it's like to give an example, like for us at least anyway, like what we're doing. Like we're only starting out, we're new to this, but what makes me and Roman work together is a collaborative process.
Yeah,
like we work together in order to do what we do. And should other people come involved in it later on down the line, hopefully
and
they
have helpful like ideas and stuff like that. Yes, of course.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like, so when anything that's collaborative should be collaborative, but when you have a singular vision, and the more that vision becomes singular, and the more resources that they have, and again, sorry to keep reiterating this point, but you can start seeing it happen with John Wick Part 2.
Yeah.
And why it's a brilliant film, it's not as good as the first.
Let's just say it's the beginning of the end.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway.
Alright, okay, look, we'll leave it there. My name's been John Clare.
I've been Roman Presh.
This has been Post Watch Post Mortem. Thank you very much for taking part. You've been more than welcome, and we'll see you next time.
Leave a comment.
Oh yeah, leave a comment. And subscribe and yada 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 yada.
And you should check his John website as well in the description.
Yeah, johnstarkart.com.
There you go. Bye.